like my right arm, just been my right arm forever.
And then Billy calls a couple of days later and says, MJ, what was this pickup that you guys made? Why? It's amazing. I like it.
Hello, everybody. This is Seymour Duncan. Welcome to my studio. Today, it's such an honor for me to introduce you to the person that's like my right arm, just been my right arm forever. Her name is MJ, as you guys may know her, Maricela. Maricela's been with me for about 35 years now, over 35 years, which I'm so honored. She's multi-talented. I mean, she does so many great things around the shop, at home, when we're at the trade shows. We'll be in Dallas, Texas. We'll be at the NAMM shows. MJ, please say hello to all our friends out there.
Well, nice seeing you all. And, and it's been delighted to work over 35 years at Seymour Duncan. And like I always said, Seymour Duncan went and knocked on my door. I never applied at Seymour Duncan. It was one of my neighbors who went and knocked on my door and asked me for a ride to go and take this application to a place down, by the beach. So her application wasn't filled out all the way, so I put myself as a reference and finished it for her. When we arrived to Seymour Duncan, it's just funny to say, if somebody will tell me in here, they make pickups, I would say Chevy or Ford. I didn't know nothing about guitar pickups. I was in love with Peter Frampton. That's all I knew about music, Peter Frampton was my hero, but nothing about pickups. To make the story short, they asked her if she wanted to have the interview right away. And I said, yes, have it right now. And I went inside with her. So then after that, we drove to her house. 3 hours later, I was in my house, finishing my tortillas, and the phone rang. And they offered me the job. And I started laughing. I said, but I was only the chauffeur. Oh, we know that. And then they said, would you like to come and work for us? I said, but I didn't fill out an application. Oh, we know that. Would you like to come for us? But I'm not looking for a job. I was a brand new mama, and I was at home with my baby. And so I was taking care of my baby. I said, me being one of 16, my mom living so close, when I called my mom and told her I got a job offer, my mom jumped of joy because she always loved to have kids at home, and she was going to babysit. So I said, okay, I have to take the job. I was hired as an assembly, and I was going to go ahead and do that. And believe it or not, my first assembly job was to make 10 pickups for Jimmy Page. But then when I took them over to Seymour had a bookshelf right on the back. And the NAMM badge of Peter Frampton was hanging out from that bookshelf. And I'm going, do you know him? Seymour's just being the kind of guy that he is, so simple. Yeah, no, really, do you know him? And Seymour goes, yeah. And goes, I want to stay here. So I'm going back to my table and start writing down. Okay, they said this is called a humbucker. And they said it's 4-conductor. Salt and pepper, salsa and guacamole. And how the wires were going to be hooked up. I was trying to use a language that would stick with me because I wanted to stick to the job because I was going to meet Peter Frampton, So I started doing my little notes and everything. Me not knowing that Seymour W. Duncan was a huge person of notes. Seymour would write a note on a piece of paper, even on toilet paper, while he was in the bathroom, on a napkin, on a restaurant, everywhere. So I started doing all my notes from all my pickups because I wanted to stick to that job and be able to meet Peter Frampton. Long story short, I had met Peter Frampton a few times, and I had made a lot of pickups for him. But not only for him, for so many big artists. I'm including Steve Miller, Jimmy Page and Eddie Van Halen, just to name a few. And our friend, one of our greatest friends, Billy F Gibbons. And Seymour, how long have you worked with Billy?
Oh boy, Billy's been a long-time friend of ours here. Probably started working with him, late 1970s, 78. And we started doing a lot of custom things, and he was interested in the humbuckers that we were doing. And the first thing he did was he flew to Santa Barbara with a guy named Tony Dukes, who was one of his good buddies. He brought his Pearly Gates guitar. Mm-hmm. And I had to measure it and spec it and get all the frequencies from it and everything and find out how this thing was and the weight of the guitar, which was very important. So that's when it all started. Then we started doing a lot of custom sets, and I was doing set number A, set B, C, and D, and E. So we made like 5 different sets of different pickups using different magnets, a little bit different turns.
Where you used to calibrate the magnets and used to kind of, number the magnets and taking it. Please do not miss these magnets because these are for very special,
Yeah, we would calibrate. It was
he used to calibrate and bring them on a little cardboard, and and knowing that I was big on taking my notes, he will go ahead and trust me and say, okay, I want you to use them and use this magnet, and make sure that you put the label on each pickup according to the magnet that I'm giving you, and these particular wines and these particular things, and that's how the Pearly Gate was born. Correct?
Yep. And the funny thing is, and it was around, 1978, Billy asked me, he says, does a pickup work underwater? He was into all these kind of fun things and theories and thinking about things. And I said, you know what? We're going to try it. We're going to have to see if it works, And so, should I show him?
Oh, go ahead. Let's show them.
Okay. Now, here's the jar. It was May 1978 for Billy Gibbons. I don't know if you can see this here or not. And this jar has a pickup in it that's been in water since 1978. Okay.
And the cool thing about this jar is every time Billy comes, you guys can see he signs it. He checks it out and he signs it. He puts a different date
on it. Yeah, different date on it. So this is Billy's pickled pickup. Okay, this is going to be messy here, guys. I don't even know if there's anything in there still. Okay, here it comes. Oh boy, this looks pretty.
Wow, that pickup just celebrated.
It had a mounting ring on it. This is 40. What did we figure, Chris? 40 years.
Yeah.
Look at this sucker. No pole pieces are all like disintegrated.
But it still has a DC resistance. It's not totally dead, so it might have a short because
and the magnet's still fine too. So it would actually work. And what's happened to it? All the crust you see on it is where the magnet and the oxide, the pole piece is disintegrated, and they've actually stuck to part of the pole pieces that are still there. So it's pretty gross. But the nickel silver bottom plate's still there. The cloth wire, braided wire is still working. But this does look pretty disgusting. Look at that. This is my original antiquity. I'm looking at, but it's cool. It's just for one, it's a great conversation piece. It's surprised we don't have any like tadpoles or fish in here, MJ. Anyway, I hope we can show it to you in another 40 years, see what happens, But that's the old Billy pickled pickup.
And that's when it was the main beginning of the Pearly Gate. That was even before Seymour started, calibrating the magnets, just in case you guys are talking about it, when they were working on those pickups. Back then, Seymour wasn't, still not thinking at that point how to calibrate the magnets and bring closer to the Pearly Gate. Later on in the years, about 1982, that's when Seymour started, he made his own Dunstunner.
Dunstunner, yeah.
And was able to start calibrating magnets. And that's when he started kind of putting labels and writing down to me. So we were able to play and make different kind of noises with different more pickups with the calibration
now,
of the magnets.
Now, what's some of the current projects you're working on?
One of the other projects that we did with Billy, that was back probably 1986, it was that he wanted the tone of the Pearly Gates, but he wanted for his telly.
For telly,
for the telly. So we ended up making what we call the BG 1400. It was the closest thing that he could get, of the tone of the Pearly Gate on his main Telecaster. And not long ago, it was last year when we went over, Billy is the kind of guy that, when I send him a text and, have I told you lately that I love you? And sometimes if he's nearby, he will respond. He says, yes, I'm here. We're going to lunch. I said, you're where? Here in Santa Barbara. He always gives really short notice and, just appears here. I either feed him mole or tamales, super easygoing. And he wanted to come in here and talk pedals with our engineers. And at that point, the wife came by and says, okay, you come along. Let's make a pickup for Billy. And she goes, and what are we going to do? You just come along, you help me, you just go with the flow and, and try to always keep the significant other happy. So he's happy if she's happy. So I get into the winding machine. I'm going to make something different, something special for him. So I start putting, the magnets on the dance tanner, calibrated to a certain point, wind it on the machine where she kind of helped me by pushing the button on the machine. And we make a pickup. And then Billy calls a couple of days later and says, MJ, what was this pickup that you guys made? Why? It's amazing. I like it. And I'm going, oh, the Gilly? He goes, the Gilly? I said, yeah, because since we made it, I named it the Gilly. He says, I want that pickup. So that's one of the newest creations that we're doing for Billy right now. It's called the Gilly. And it was a pickup, that it was kind of, I wanted to be a little bit more warmer, not worried, but not on the highs, by calibrating the magnet to give him, a really high output of the Alnico 5. It's calibrated maybe to close to a 4, but we're not using Alnico 4 magnets. So we cannot say that we're doing an Alnico 4 magnet, but it has a special calibration of the magnet, has less turns. But it was done on a way that he says, I didn't need to change none of my adjustments on my guitar. Everything worked perfect. And this is why right now we have what is called the Gilly, which is a tele-stack pickup.
It's a Billy Gibbons.
It's a Gilly Gibbons. Yeah, it is
Say
a Gilly.
That fast, three times.
It is a Gilly Gibbons, And and not talking about it soon, you guys are going to see him also playing a Strat. And the Strat will have the Red Devils in it, which is also some other Strats. He wanted to start, playing the Strats, and we're making a pickup. It's close to the look of the, Little 59 or the JB Juniors, but a special wines and a special magnets also designed for Billy. And those are going to be called the Red Devils. And Billy, I'm going to challenge you to come in here and be on the next Seymour Duncan studio.
Yeah, Billy, we need you in here, buddy.
This must continue.
And Gilly, we need to get Gilly in here,
We need
too.
to get Billy and Gilly.
Billy and Gilly, yeah,
on this
definitely.
studio,
You know, something amazes me about Billy, too. Both Billy and Gilly, when they're on the road, they always get me little gifts.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? And they always find me Arrowhead. They got me a great display of Arrowhead, a whole frame, and then he'll find little trinkets, and then he'll find like little pins,
Knives.
Arrowhead pins and stuff,
Knives.
and knives, and Arrowhead knives and everything. So, I really appreciate that. It's really, really great of him to do that.
The relationship that we get with the artist is not only, you're not just a customer.
Yeah.
We treat people like family in here. Seymour Duncan being a family environment in here, I would like to check on my guys. Steve Miller would tell me, MJ, I'm gonna paint my porch this color. We're putting these flowers in the front. On the front of the yard. Just not forget about your people. Care about your people now, because we need to live today knowing that we care for them, and not until after they're gone and we said we miss them.
Yeah.
We keep in touch with them. We love them as human beings, and you guys know, mi casa, su casa.
Well, I want to thank you, MJ, for all the many years with us here. We have fun. We're laughing all the time, and we're always coming up with some kind of new recipe, which is fun. I enjoy it. And MJ, I'll say, can we try this? And she'll say, of course we can. So that's a neat thing about being here and having MJ. MJ's, just my right arm, and it's so helpful. And I can't thank her more, than all the years you've been with us, and all the shows we've done, and all the artists, and we'll make sure we get Peter Frampton back here for you, and we're going to get Billy back here, we're going to get Steve Miller back here, Brad Paisley's going to be coming back, And we just have a great time here. And I hope you guys can visit sometime, Santa Barbara, and come visit the factory and the custom shop.
I would like to go ahead and thank, Seymour W. Duncan. Okay, because if it wasn't for this guy, the company wouldn't be here, obviously. Thank the Seymour Duncan company for, going and knocking on my door. Because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be here today. Especially, I wouldn't be enjoying it and living it the way I do. Almost anybody can say, I do love my work, but I love it with all my heart and soul. And I can tell you that I put all my heart and soul on every single pickup that I build, And I hope to see you guys soon.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for joining, and we'll talk to you real soon, and have a great day. All the best.